A lot of interesting Nintendo games form from a very risky formula. You take an established franchise, and then you mix up something seemingly random. For example, with Kirby in one hand and Mini Golf in the other, you get Kirby's Dream Course. Nintendo has a lot of these really weird but really good combinations. Nintendo still does this today. Recently, it combined Kirby with giant robots. I think the greatest combination is Super Mario Sunshine. Super Mario Sunshine takes the fundamentals of its predecessors, but still ventures forth into new and exciting directions. The established franchise for Super Mario Sunshine was the Mario series, Super Mario 64 in particular. Mario 64 was basically considered a masterpiece when it launched. It had successfully tamed a wild new style of gameplay, 3D. Super Mario 64 didn't just define 3D games, it showed how 3D could redefine video games altogether. This meant that the follow-up to Super Mario 64 needed to be huge. Originally, a direct approach was planned. Super Mario 64 2 was mentioned by Miyamoto at E3 1997, planned for the doomed Nintendo 64 disk drive. The second attempt of a sequel to Mario 64 was Super Mario 128. It was shown as a tech demo at Space World 2000, mostly to showcase the power that the GameCube would have. Although the project started as a sequel to Super Mario 64, development turned into Miyamoto's experimental title, Pikmin. Nintendo turned to their last resort, Super Mario 64 plus a random element. Except Super Mario Sunshine didn't have one random element, it had two, the first of which was the tropical theme. This was based around the codename for the GameCube, the dolphin. It's no coincidence that Isle Delfino resembles a giant dolphin. The second random element was a water pump, which could be used for a variety of gameplay options. The director of Super Mario Sunshine had envisioned a game centered around a water pump for a long time, but could never find a place to implement it. Mario wasn't his first choice, but with the desperation for ideas, that's what got picked. The tropical theme would show itself in the stages, and the water pump would develop into FLUDD. A lot of the strength of Super Mario Sunshine stages comes from their consistency. On one level, each stage has its own theme. Noki Bay is all about elevation. You're either going really high up, or really far down. Pianta Village is all about contrast. There's contrast in the peaceful village above, and the mysterious labyrinth of catwalks beneath it. It's also the only stage with a day-night cycle. Then there are old school stages, which are all based around platforming skill. These themes put you in a certain mindset of how to get each and every Shine Sprite, even before you've started the level. This consistency also comes into play with Isle Delfino as a whole. It feels hugely connected. You can see some stages from other stages, and each stage feels like it has a real function. Rico Harbor really feels like a harbor. Hotel Delfino actually feels like a hotel. And the transitions from different areas are seamless. When you enter from the outside of Peanut Park to the inside of Peanut Park, it feels very natural. And with all the people, Isle Delfino feels alive, especially compared to the empty hallways of Peach's Castle. The other half of Sunshine is the gameplay. This is reflected in FLUDD. FLUDD is really interesting because it makes the gameplay a lot more flexible than Mario 64. In Mario 64, you have a lot of movement options already, but by adding a few extra seconds to hover in the air, you can do a whole lot more. This makes the game feel really fluid. Mario Sunshine also adds some very technical movements. Mario Sunshine is the first game where you can do wall jumps, a feature that's still in both 2D and 3D Mario games today. You can also spin the control stick to do a spin jump. Finally, Mario can do complex slip and slide mechanics for some quick ground speed velocity. All of these combinations make Super Mario Sunshine just a really nice game to play. In a lot of newer Mario games, you feel like you're playing on muscle memory alone. While repetition does have a certain appeal, there's nothing more fun than just experimenting with different strategies. What if instead of doing a triple jump, I did a spin jump into FLUDD? Mario Sunshine's gameplay feels like you can experiment with it, and nothing is nicer than that. And this experimental nature isn't just felt in the gameplay, it's felt like a deliberate design change to make Mario Sunshine feel completely different. What other game has you riding a giant sandbird? Name another Mario game where you play pachinko for red coins. Super Mario Sunshine feels experimental throughout its design. A lot of racing games have felt very evolutionary. Nintendo has a choice ahead of it. It can end up like the rest of the industry and make iterative titles, or it can push forward and try new and exciting things. I hope they always keep experimenting. The problem is, a lot of new Nintendo games feel safe. Most of them feel like rehashes of old titles. In comparison, let's look at the GameCube's lineup. Luigi's Mansion, Paper Mario 2, Pikmin 1 and 2, Mario Kart Double Dash, Metroid Prime, and Wind Waker. All of these games dare to push their franchises. However, after the disappointment of the Wii U, I think Nintendo is ready to experiment again. We'll see what the NX has in store, but I feel like it'll be good. Please like this video if you like this video, but please do not like it if you do not like it. Please subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos. Please do not subscribe to this channel if you do not want to see more videos.